to Real Italian Restaurants. We're glad to have you today. And well, first of all, let's start from the beginning. Where did you start from? How did you arrive to where you are today?
Well, I like to say, first of all, how Rossella and I met, because that's a cool,
Of course, yes.
cool thing. I mean, first we met on a podcast also. I mean, I think that's actually the first time we actually met Rossella. Is that right?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think so on the Italian American podcast.
But then we have this other connection, which is the National Organization of Italian American Women, which is another connection that we have. So we were at the same event in January, and we were talking, and I was talking to Rossella about my tours and tourism. She was telling me about what's going on with cooking with Nonna and her life, right?
Yeah, and it was sort of serendipitous that we met that evening because, fast forward a few weeks later and I used to guide my own culinary tours since I think it was 2013. I did my first one
Mhm.
on the Amalfi Coast with a tour operator that was based in the Amalfi Coast. And it was a big deal for me. I mean, I hadn't written any of my books yet, and today every influencer has their own tour. You see
Yeah.
tours everywhere, but at that time, it really wasn't a big thing for someone like myself to have a culinary tour and bring a bunch of people from all over the world, not just the United States, to Italy. We would stay in a villa, and it was very fun, and we would have local nonna come and cook with us and go to
Oh, that's
wineries.
great.
And I did that for 6 years. And then my last one was in 2019. And then, the world ended and I didn't do them anymore. And, life got complicated. And I always said how I wanted to resume them. I wanted to resume them. And a few weeks after I ran into Allison at that Noia event, I was contacted by another tour operator that offered me to lead a tour in Sardinia. And I was thinking about it. I was excited. I was like, "Oh, the universe is telling me to do
Yeah.
the tours again." And but something wasn't really right in the way that they wanted to structure the deal and everything. So I called Allison to say, "Hey, does this sound appropriate to you?" And she said no. And I was like, "Oh, damn, I really was hoping this would be a good situation for me to, good opportunity to resume my tours." And then she was talking about this culinary tour she was doing in Sicily, but it wasn't full yet, and there was still some wiggle room. And I said, "Why don't I just do the tour with you? I already know you. I already like you. Why don't I work with somebody
So
that I
it was
know,
meant
that
to
I
be,
like?"
basically.
Yeah, and who's my friend, and would be such a fun experience for me and for the people that have been wanting to come on my culinary tours for the past 6 years that I didn't do them. And I said, what a great opportunity. And we just decided in one day we're gonna do it.
Manifested that you wanted to
Yes.
do it again, and then it happened thanks to your friendship. That's great.
Yeah, I manifested this.
It's awesome. And you haven't done a culinary tour in Sicily. You've been to Sicily, but you haven't done a culinary tour here.
We did one culinary tour in Sicily, and we never did it again because I think that tours are great when you have someone on the ground that really knows the area well,
Yeah.
if they're that is from there, ideally, that spends a lot of time there. When I did my culinary tour in Sicily, I forget what year it was. It might have been like 2016 or 17, but I'm from Puglia, so I my tours expanded from the Amalfi Coast to the
Yeah,
Amalfi Coast
from
and
Bari.
then Puglia. So I said I want to take over Sicily now. But the problem is that I'm not from Sicily, and my tour operator was from Sorrento. So it was like two non-Sicilians going to Sicily, trying to do a culinary tour in Sicily, and it just wasn't as cohesive as it should have been.
Mhm.
It wasn't a bad tour. We all had a great time. I mean, it rained the last day in Taormina, which was very sad. But
This happens. It's
yeah,
that.
what are you gonna do? But I think there was so much room to do the Sicily tour much better. And now that we're going to do it with Allison from Experience Sicily, I think it's the best way to
Mhm.
experience Sicily. And I can't wait to, bring our group there. The thing that's really magical about tours and leading them is, especially when you have people that have never been to Italy, you really get to watch such a magical experience take place within them. I mean, I've seen so many amazing, miraculous things. I've seen people come on the tour, and on day one, they're like, "Oh, I can't walk well. I don't do. I can't climb these ruins or anything. I have a lot of medical problems." And I say, "Okay, okay, okay." And by the seventh day, it's like they're healed and they're
All
running
right, they
around.
have magical air.
Yes, it's real. It's
It is
very,
real.
very real.
It's the grains, it's the flour they're eating is not, whatever it is.
Honestly.
This tour, Stirring Sicily, the way it's designed is that we cook. We have 3 hands-on cooking classes with local people, and Rossella is going to be side by side with them. And if you do the Prelude, because we have 4 or 5 days before the full tour starts, you'll have 2 winery visits, and one is really going to be really in depth about winemaking. We don't just cook. That's the thing that's nice about this. We'll have a food tour and we'll be eating in Palermo. We're going to be eating street food with a street food guide and through the markets in Palermo. We're going to be going to sheep farm and having fresh ricotta, watching the cheesemaker make the ricotta, make the cheese right in front of us. And we're going to take that cheese and we're going to go into the village and we're going to make sausage with the butcher. So,
Wow, that going
and
back to tradition
we're
to
gonna take that sausage with the cheese, with honey from the farm, etc., and we'll go into the forest where we have a picnic area, and we're gonna have a barbecue with the sausage and have the cheese and all these other salads and stuff that will have been prepared by our local guests, our local contacts here, and so
Mhm.
there's food every day. But the nice thing is it's very varied in how we are experiencing Sicily through many different forms of food culture.
Yes, and
And
that's why they get healed after 7 days, I guess. All these natural, fresh ingredients.
local stuff. I mean, literally, we're like meeting the sheep that made the milk that we're eating the
Yeah,
ricotta and the cheese from.
yeah.
Like that's how
I don't
how
even get to do that, and I'm here in Italy, so that's
mm,
great.
Right.
no,
I
it's
think these are experiences that, you take for granted when you
Yeah,
live in the place where it
definitely.
occurs. Like, I'm a New Yorker. I don't think I've ever been to the Empire State Building. It's right
Of
here, but I've
course.
never been
Yeah.
there. If you live in Sicily, how many, are you really milking the sheep every day? No, you don't do it. So,
no.
so we're
But
we're kind of bringing people back to these experiences that locals used to have every day. It used to be a big part of their everyday lives. But that's what my work in the world is about, is preserving traditions and documenting traditions and embracing traditions. And a tour is such a wonderful way to share that with so many
Mhm.
people.
That matches perfectly with what we are doing. So really, thank you for the job, the effort you're putting in, and the traditions you're keeping for
You're
us.
so welcome. I mean, it's such hard work, being flown out to
Yeah.
Sicily and getting to go on this fabulous tour with a bunch of people that like me and have paid to come on vacation with me. It's such a hard job, but someone has to do it.
Yes, and you are doing it perfectly.
Well,
And
and the other lovely thing is that the guests who come on a food tour, people who love food really are hospitable. They love to talk, they love to meet other people, they're social animals. So generally, I find with the food tours that I've run is that the people who are on these tours, they stay in touch as long as they possibly
yes,
can. Like for example, I'm going back to New York this coming week, and next weekend I do a cannoli crawl in New York City. It's a
yes, the
food
the
and
Mhm.
tour in New York City, and one of the ones I'm doing when I'm there for the next couple of weeks is a private tour of the group that came with me on this culinary tour last year, last September, they wanted to have a reunion. So we're having a reunion in New York City to do the cannoli crawl together. And this isn't the first one. This is another group I had in 2023. They get together constantly. We have WhatsApp groups for all of our tour groups, and so they stay in contact for years. They are sending pictures about their new recipes that they've just, they've made the arancine, they made the caponata that we made with Giuseppe, and then they take photos of it and send them to the group to share. So that's part of the wonderfulness of this, is that the people who are on this tour and the people that are attracted to Rossella and to me, they're fun people. And so they end up becoming friends and staying friends for years to come after the tour. So this is a really cool
I love when that happens. My groups, stayed in touch, had reunions, had meetups. I mean, I would get invited to some of their homes. I don't do that with everyone, but it's so nice to see how many bonds get made through just spending a week
Yes.
in Italy with a bunch of random people that you didn't even know before. It takes a certain personality, a certain courage to put yourself out there like that and agree to go on vacation with people you've never met. But I've never seen it not be fantastic.
So it's much more than a food related tour. It's an experience. It's a life experience at all. But plus,
Yeah, it's like getting your own big Italian family if you didn't
yes,
already have one.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Plus, Italians
Absolutely.
are famous to be great talkers. So yes, of course, when you go, like you meet them and they never want to stop.
Of
So
course.
yeah, this thing you're creating, is wonderful. It's not you're keeping traditions, but you're also building a sort of community. Yeah,
Yeah, well, for sure.
Absolutely.
There's a Cooking with Nonna community without a doubt, and there's an Experience Sicily community also. So, and food is a lot of times at the center of these things. So it's
hmm.
neat.
Well,
We'll
that's
also be visiting Valley of the Temples. So we'll be doing Valley of the Temples, and the Prelude tour of this will be going to Mount Etna. So there's doing a volcano excursion.
mhm.
Uh, Also, where else do we go? We're going to be seeing the salt flats in Trapani. So there's a lot of other things that we do in addition to the cooking. So that's nice. It's a nice mix. So you're not just coming and you're sitting in a villa and cooking for 5 days. You're going to actually see a lot of Sicily as well.
You're
And
living Italy, sort of living Sicily,
yeah,
360
yeah.
degrees. Hmm.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and we don't just stay on one coast of Sicily. We really move around, so you really get the full experience of the islands and see, because Sicily's an island, but it's so vast, and Italy is so unique in the sense that you go 20 kilometers down the street. It's a
Yeah,
totally different
yeah,
town with a
definitely.
different experience.
We have the Prelude, which you'll be in Eastern Sicily and see a lot of Eastern Sicily. We'll have a gelato experience, a cannoli
Of course,
experience on
that
the top of
cannot
the
be
island.
missed.
And
You
then
have
when
to.
and when we come to where we'll be outside of Palermo, we're going to be staying in Agriturismo outside of Palermo. And that's nice too, because again, it's just one move. If you do the two parts, if you do just the one part, we're in this Agriturismo outside of Palermo, but the way where it's positioned in Sicily, we can get to Agrigento pretty
Yeah.
easily. We can get to Trapani pretty easily. Palermo, super easy. So we see a lot of the island during the 8 days of the main part of the tour. But I really encourage people to do the Prelude also. So making it a 12-day experience,
Mhm.
make it
Yeah.
pretty
And this is going to
complete.
happen in September.
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. The Prelude starts September 6th until the 10th. The official start date of the tour is September 10th, and then
Till
we
the
finish
17th.
until the 17th. Yep.
Mhm. Well, that 12 day is going to be tour is going to be the best thing. I agree to, because you get to have the plus you after the seventh day, Marcella, you said everyone is healed and able to do every kind of excursion. So then the other days
Yes.
they are free to go. I hope you're having the excursion on the volcano after the seventh day. Everyone is able to do it.
Yes, exactly. And September is such a fantastic time to visit
Yes.
Italy. It's a little bit calmed. The energy's a little calmer from the full summer season, but it's still very warm and it's
Mhm.
still just beautiful and lush
Yeah.
and fruitful. So I love everything about this tour. I'm so excited to go on it as much as I am to lead it.
Thank you again, and congratulations for your projects. And I wish that this tour is gonna be wonderful, and a lot of people are gonna join the Prelude too in September.
Yes.
Well, thank you
Awesome.
again for participating. Seriously, that's great for us to have someone who's sharing our values and vision on this and protecting our traditions and living Italy 360 degrees, food and all.
Yes. Thank you so much for having us.
Yes, thank you to Real Italian Restaurants for having us.